Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Tune in Tokyo. Can you hear us? Probably shouldn't say tune in Tokyo, but that'll,
Oh, that's like an old Godzilla movie thing, isn't it?
Godzilla.
Yeah. Which is what they call Godzilla over there, so you can't, All right.
So we were getting ready for the show, and Amy and I started talking about some items that we need to flesh out between Amy and I before we can start talking about them publicly.
Doop.
I think we're
good conversation.
We are steps closer.
Good conversation.
We are much further along.
Yeah, and the point is that we can have a reasonable conversation.
Right.
Discuss some hot topics and try to understand each other's viewpoints, because we have different viewpoints because we are obviously different people, in case you haven't noticed our differences.
And we're different. I'm just going to use the word, we're different genders.
Yes. We're different colors.
Yeah, there's racial issues.
Yeah.
Not issues in the meaning.
You're a beer guy, I'm a wine girl. I mean, the differences are really
I like the woods. You're more of an urbanite.
But I do love the woods. I'm an urbanite. I'm definitely an urbanite. I would if it was the choice was live in an apartment in New York City or live in a Ted Kaczynski kind of cabin in the woods, I definitely would take the city.
Right.
But I would like to go visit the woods.
Sure.
I was in the woods. I told you I went for a hike on Sunday. It was the stupidest thing I ever did. It was very slippery.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Now you know that you can do that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Gail Amber Wolf is saying hello.
Hello. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. I got my two moms.
Mary Ann Balzano Brangaccio. Brangaccio.
Yes.
Don't forget that we're on YouTube. I was watching another local organization's YouTube channel, Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
They have a YouTube channel, and the ladies that work over there do a really good job on their shows.
You had them on your show.
I did. I had them on the cast at Glocker. Super interesting people. But they said something whilst talking on their YouTube channel that made me think I need to say this.
Yes. What?
Subscribing to Porchcast Pottstown on YouTube is free.
Oh.
So if you think that we're charging you a fee to subscribe on YouTube to Porchcast Pottstown, if that's what's holding you back.
And we're not getting any kickbacks, folks.
If that's what's holding you back.
No.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and there's you don't get spammed or anything. You just get notifications.
Yeah.
When any channel that you subscribe to, you will get a notification that says, "Hey, Porchcast is live now," or "Hey, whatever you're subscribing to
there was a new video posted to this channel."
Yes.
And if you don't want to get those notifications, there's a little bell icon. You turn the bell off.
Yes.
And you won't get it.
Right.
But I did want to let everybody know. Subscribing to Porchcast Pottstown on YouTube is free.
So are you able to... Oh, yeah, you are streaming it over there. I know you had a difficulty the last couple of times.
I reset the stream key.
Excellent.
I figured out how to do that. Apparently, the stream key had expired because YouTube made some changes.
You are becoming quite the technology maven, aren't you?
I don't know how.
A lot of trial and error.
Lots.
And persistence.
Headbanging.
Yeah.
Joe Rusevich.
Hello, Joe.
Do you have my card? So the other day...
This one?
Yeah, put that up there in the window.
This is a card.
I got a card from Joe Rusevich because look at that thing. Oh, yeah, unfold it. Look, it takes up the whole window.
Okay, so, you can see what it says.
Yeah. It says thank you.
So it's a thank you card.
Right. Because Joe is really good at sending out thank you cards.
He's the best. He's the best.
Handwritten, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
I had made a joke, which was actually supposed to be self-deprecating humor, that the reason I didn't get a bigger card than Amy's card was because I gave less money, which could be true.
No, I think Joe is an equal opportunity card sender.
Right.
Right. Whether
it just so happened
your donation
that your
is
card,
100 or 500 or whatever.
Everybody gets a card.
Everybody gets a card.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I appreciate the card.
It's very nice to get a piece of mail.
I gave the card to Jennifer Seville, and she hung it up on her desk at Glocker. So it's appreciated.
Yes, absolutely.
But Joe, being the man that he is.
Being the jokester that he is.
Jokester. Yes.
Right. So this is a
I got a
rebus,
super big card.
right? I'm gonna look up the definition of rebus because I think that's
Maybe
what that
Joe
is.
knows.
Right, Joe, do you know what a rebus is?
It
Not a
says
rhombus. Don't
the
be confusing
cat-
it with a rhombus.
The cat's out of the bag. It's a, I don't know.
We struggled with this one.
It's a family matter. It's a matter. It matters to us that we appreciate your support. And then lift it up.
Oh, sorry.
It says we didn't realize that size matters with my
Matters.
picture there.
Yes.
Matters to me.
So we're
If you
struggling
could,
with
if
this.
you could explain the
we're
family
struggling with
picture.
that rebus, that part of the rebus.
The card that Amy showed the other day was for International Women's
Oh,
Day.
yes. Yes, it was not necessarily a thank you card, but just an International Women's Day.
After the show the other day, when Amy mentioned about being the co-host, and
The Regis.
I'm just going to start calling Amy the host. I'm the host. Amy's the host. We're both hosts.
We're both, we're co-hosts, like
I'm taking co out.
workers. Co-what? Yeah, okay.
We're just hosts.
Yeah. What are you to Andrew, and what is Judy to you? A parent. It's a parent.
That was the only word that we did
it's
not
a parent
use.
to us. No, I was like mom, son,
Family.
what? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
It's a
parent to us
parent
that we
to
appreciate your
us.
support.
Excellent. And I love that picture of Andrew as Flounder.
Yes.
That's from when they did Little
Cat
Mermaid.
in the Hat.
No, Little Mermaid. That's Little
Oh,
Mermaid.
oh.
Yeah,
That's
Cat in the
Little
Hat is up
Mermaid.
there.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's Cat in the Hat.
So great.
So, pulling together
That's
a
a really
couple
nice
of
picture.
themes that we've talked about on Porchcast the other day. I mean, Joe, I give you 4 stars for effort, buddy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is a rebus.
It's a rebus.
A rebus.
See, we learned it.
Oh,
I
got
learned
you.
a
No,
new
Rebus
word.
was not the co-host of Live with Rebus and Kelly.
He's making more jokes.
Word picture puzzles or picture riddles that use images or words to convey a phrase or message. So that's what that is. It is a rebus. Brain
Thank you
teaser.
for my card, Joe.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Very, very
Don't
nice.
forget, folks, that the Foundation for Pottstown Education needs more business sponsors for the upcoming gala at the high school. Glocker Realty Insurance, I believe, is a stage manager sponsorship for the show. There's
Yep.
other sponsorships available. You can go to their Facebook page to learn more about it, or you can scroll through the wall at Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate, where you're currently watching this show. If you're not watching it on YouTube, and see the flyer, get in touch with Joe Rusevich. Or you could just reach out to Joe Rusevich right now through the comments and pledge your business's support.
Businesses support.
Zzz.
Yes. So they are doing the show Godspell. I don't know as though I have ever seen Godspell. I remember when it was on Broadway, because I was a child and I grew up outside of New York and I saw all the television commercials for the Broadway shows.
Right.
So I don't even know what this is about.
I don't either.
And I'm eager to see it if I can get a ticket. I don't need to take a ticket from somebody that can't, that needs a parent of one of the actors or one of the players. But hey, listen, this is interesting. The musical is structured as a series of parables, primarily based on the Gospel of Matthew. The parables are interspersed with music set primarily to lyrics from traditional hymns. Godspell began as a project by drama students at Carnegie Mellon University, which is where Harrison goes. Just a little aside for you.
Nice. Joe
Yeah.
Rusevich is saying Wolf Baldwin and Associates are also stage managers
Are.
as well, and they have updated the advertisements
Thank you.
appropriately.
Thank you. We are very, very happy to support. We've always been really impressed with the shows that are put on and the gala and the food and
gala?
the gala. Just really impressive all the way around. I honestly, I don't know why Pottstown High School gets such a bad rap. I really don't.
Racism.
No, I think what it has to do with...
I said it. You didn't say it. I said it.
No, I think it has to do with, people look at the scores, the grades, the matriculation to college, with all of these things that you would traditionally look at what constitutes a good school district.
Mm-hmm.
And those aren't necessarily... how many kids go to college is not a good measure.
No.
No, because our kids come out and get jobs right away.
I was just going to say, because we have a comprehensive high school. So some of those kids that are graduating from high school are going right into the workforce with some certifications and experience under their belt.
Right.
So not every kid needs to go to college.
They should specifically have a steam heat program there. Like, who's going to take care of these radiators? It's a concern.
Well, that I did read about that because of the aging infrastructure within the residential sector. Yes, that is a valid concern. Who's going to take care of this?
Who's going to take care of these radiators?
There's not enough people going into plumbing and steam fitting
that know how to service steam radiators.
Yeah,
I got one. I'm glad that winter is coming to an end because I got one radiator that is like banging all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's annoying. But
summer's here. What was the temperature today?
It was in the low 70s. That's a little bit freakishly warm for March 11th.
Right.
I like my seasons to be a little bit more...
I'm sitting out here. I had to take my ski hat off. I put my ball cap on so I didn't burn my bald head.
So you didn't get a glare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And down to a sweater and a T-shirt.
Very nice out.
Nice. I was even a little dry. I was getting a little dry over here setting up. I had to ask for my beers early.
So speaking of nice outdoor weather, our friends at the Iron Gate Beer Garden are opening up.
I saw that. So head down there.
I think they're open today.
Are they?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up right now.
It's a good place, and if you go back on YouTube or Facebook, you can see our live event from Iron Gate Beer Garden. We learned a lot about the history of the Iron Gate Beer Garden.
It was lots of fun.
About the owners. We spoke with Tom Dunn, who's one of the owners, and the kind of the brains behind the operation. Mm-hmm. We talked to Adam Burke from Pub, and we talked to Pub's new brewer. I can't think of his name. Sorry, brother.
Dan? Kevin? Dan.
Might have been Dan. Anyway.
Sorry, man.
The new brewer at Pub, who came from La Cabra in Malvern. And so go back and watch that episode. I am going to get in touch with Adam to see what we can do about doing our show there.
Yeah, so Iron Gate is open tonight from 4 to 8. And
right.
Pub, Pottstown United Brewing, is... serving food over there.
Yes.
So Iron Gate is open, and you can get pub food at Iron Gate.
That's what's keeping them open.
I don't know if the requirement is still in place in Pennsylvania, where if you are drinking, you have to also be eating food.
It is, because I went out last night for dinner, and they were shutting the bar down because they were getting ready to close the kitchen.
Got it. Yep. So if you do go over there, you're going to need to get some food. So, and that's fine. Get some loaded tots.
And
those things are delicious.
Yeah, support two businesses.
Yeah. And it's just beautiful out
no
today.
Brainer.
So, two of my favorite places.
Right on.
For sure. Yes.
Thanks for the person who is tuned into YouTube. Thank you, YouTube watcher.
Thank you, YouTuber. Tell us who you are. I can look at the comments.
It might be Jay Morris. He likes to watch.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is he trying to limit his Facebook time?
I have a bunch of stuff to get into.
All right.
Dig
in.
You want me to start that up?
Yeah, I have just news and announcements. I don't have any specific stories or anything.
All right.
Other than, can we just say this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Matt and I are not really, we don't have any skin in the game on the chicken situation. We don't have any skin in the game.
Okay, that's true. Yes.
We have some concerns. We're not for it. We're not against it.
Right.
We're for responsibility and making sure that it makes sense. But we don't have any skin in the game. So we appreciate that people think that we have some sort of influence.
And on some level, we do. We have a
Right.
voice, certainly, and we'll help you share your voice.
Yes.
And I think we've done that on the
Yes.
chicken
Yes.
topic.
Yeah.
And as with others, we have let people get their word and their message out.
Yes. And I think that we've been pretty neutral on the topic.
I've said exactly what I think about it.
Right.
I would also say, too, that on some level, I do appreciate the phone calls when people call me and ask me real estate-related questions based on topics that we've discussed on Porchcast. That's why I started Porchcast, one of the reasons.
Yeah.
So thanks for calling me
Right.
about your real estate questions. Don't stop doing that. But we don't. Other than being the voice and spreading the word, I don't know anything more.
It's not a hill that I need to run up.
It's not one I'm taking to.
Not a sword
And
I
there's
need to
going to
die.
be some other issues coming down because I'm literally working on them. That once I can divulge what I'm working on, you're going to be much more interested in that
Right.
than any chicken conversation.
Yeah, there are things that
will be
that-
a benefit to
that-
everybody
that
in the
benefit
community.
a greater number of
Absolutely.
folks. So I for example, I ran into Kevin on my way in this afternoon.
Kevin Smith?
Yeah,
Coffee Smith?
I'll talk about something he's got going on later. He gave me a
Okay.
little sample. But he was heading out on a bike ride. Beautiful day. And he said, I appreciate the fact so much that we have such great bike lanes in this town,
Right.
which you don't hear often. People often are like, oh, the bike lanes, what a stupid thing. And the borough wasted their money. And why do we got to do this? Like,
No, he moved here. That was one of the reasons he moved to this community.
right,
And he's a contributor.
right.
Now,
So
he's bringing you his coffee in the morning.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
if it wasn't
so-
for the bike lane,
Yeah.
you might not be drinking Coffee Smith coffee.
Right. So, and the point is, first of all, Pottstown, the borough, your taxpayer dollars did not directly go to the bike lanes. I mean, it was a grant, so I don't know how the grant was funded. So I don't want to say no taxpayer dollars went into it, but the bike lane situation was the bike lanes were put in by a grant.
It was a PennDOT grant.
Yeah, so that benefits our town, and it makes our town much more attractive to progressive-minded folks. So, young hipsters like Kevin and some folks we know across the street and others, they look at those bike lanes as this is a benefit. I want to be able to ride my bike around town safely. That is something that could really attract people to this town, especially in conjunction with the Schuylkill River Trail, which we're about a halfway point along the entire trail.
And that's what Jennifer Seville's saying. She's
Mm-hmm.
like, people complain about the good stuff, but she loves the bike lanes too.
Right.
Listen, I do want to just say this anecdotally because this was something that I experienced when I was a police officer, and this was before the bike lanes.
Okay.
The bike lanes were the extended bike lanes were established after I left the police
Right.
force. But there was a group of people that were on the Schuylkill River Trail, and they were biking through Pottstown.
Right.
And they stopped in Pottstown thinking that there would be some stuff here to do. And I remember, and they came by the police station. They saw the sign for the police station, so they stopped into the police station to ask, hey, what's up in Pottstown?
What's here?
We're
What can we do?
hungry. We're a little
Right.
thirsty. What can we do? Now, unfortunately, this was before a lot of the stuff kicked off.
Right.
I was able to point them in the direction of like Grumpy's and a couple Lilies and
Right.
stuff that was down there. Wasn't exactly what they were looking for.
Right.
But it was because of those bike lanes that those people were in
That they even came into
Pottstown
town.
looking to spend their money.
Right.
So now that we do have the Iron Gate Beer Garden, which is more what these people were looking for.
Right.
Because they had just gotten off their bikes,
Yeah.
little hot and sweaty.
wanted to have a
didn't
beer, maybe a
necessarily want
sandwich.
to go into a restaurant.
Yeah.
But we're looking for some place to relax, grab a beer, grab something to eat.
Right.
Now that we have that stuff,
Right.
in addition to the bike lanes, more people are going to come here and spend their money
Yes.
in the borough of Pottstown.
And I would say to any of those businesses that make sure that you've got a really well established Yelp page, because that would be something that people they'd be like, oh, let's stop in Pottstown. What is there? Let's go on Yelp, which is pretty common app for people to use to find things.
Yeah.
So Grumpy's has a fantastic Yelp page, which with lots of great reviews, and Pub and other places. But make sure that you've got your Yelp page up and running, and it looks it's all tidy and clean, and people will find you.
And I would say, furthermore, if you haven't reached out to the police and the borough workers, let them know that you're here too, because even though they work in our town, they don't know everything.
Sure.
It can't hurt to remind them that you're here.
Right.
Because just in the example that I just told, those group of bike riders stopped by the police station to find out what was up.
Right. Looking for stuff.
Fortunately, they found me.
Fortunately.
So I was able to point them in the right direction. But, let the borough people know what's going on, because they're going to come across people during the course
that
of their
have questions
day
about what's happening.
Yeah, it's natural to go
Anyway,
someplace.
I digress. I just wanted to throw that out there.
So let's do a couple of things, because I actually had I had a method to my madness today. I'm going to change it up a little bit based on the conversation that we had, since we did talk a lot about the foundation for Pottstown education. We've also talked a lot about fair funding for schools on the show. And I had a little news item that I wanted to talk about, which I think goes hand in hand with fair funding for schools. Might not sound like it at first. And I'm probably going to create a little bit of controversy.
Well, I think you're going to say something that I haven't said before.
We've said it on this show.
Mm-hmm.
So recently there was a marijuana legalization bill that was put forward by State Senators Dan Laughlin from Erie and Sharif Street from Philadelphia. What's interesting about this bill is that it's bipartisan. Dan Laughlin is a Republican from Erie, and Sharif Street is a Democrat from Philadelphia. They introduced a bill that will allow those over the age of 21 to buy and use marijuana. It would also expunge the convictions of those sentenced for nonviolent marijuana-related offenses.
Right.
Existing marijuana dispensaries would be allowed to sell their products to the public, and new dispensaries would be licensed. This is the part that licenses to grow marijuana would be made widely available, partly from the strict limited number of growers allowed under the state's existing medical marijuana program.
Right.
That's a tongue tie, believe it or not. Here's one of the things that I thought was interesting. Marijuana legalization could be expected to bring in more than $400 million in revenue for Pennsylvania, according to the senators. Now, remember, this is bipartisan senators. This is a Republican and a Democrat.
Million. Is there a time frame? A year, a decade, 5 years?
I have read other articles that Governor Wolf has said,
no relation,
if the Pennsylvania legislature puts a bill on my desk, I'm going to sign it without any problems.
Right.
So once he signed it, it would just be a matter of how long it takes to get the framework up
to
in
get
place.
everything ramped up.
Now,
right.
remember, medical marijuana is already legal,
right.
and those dispensaries are already in place.
Open.
In fact, there's one in Pottstown.
There's one in Pottstown. They did a beautiful job on the outside of that building. It was Security
it was
National.
a bank.
It was a bank.
And then it was that coffee shop.
It was a coffee
Proximity
shop
Cafe.
for like a couple of minutes. And then, they did a beautiful job over there.
$400 million in state revenue. What could we do with that money?
Oh, What do you think?
I think we could use it to fund some schools.
Was there any information on the expungement numbers, like how many people, if they were to expunge,
this was
that
just
would be
a little blurb that
So
I saw.
I would be interested to know that, and maybe I'll look that up.
So let's open a conversation, because
Right.
I would much rather talk about this than chickens,
Me
to be
too.
honest with
Ditto.
you. So let's use this as a way to talk about what I think really could be a legitimate way
Right.
of creating some money to fix some problems
Yes.
in Pennsylvania.
And-
Now, my choice would be that we use it to fix schools.
Yes,
If,
of course.
If other choices are made, so be it. But I would
Right.
get strongly on the bandwagon of using this money to help fund schools.
Ditto.
Yeah.
But if I would be interested to know what the possible number of expungements, and
Right.
expungement is it clears it from your record. So
That's
it wouldn't
correct.
necessarily. But there might be some people inside the prison system now that are there for nonviolent
That's
marijuana-related
absolutely.
charges, right? So what is
Absolutely. And because for full disclosure,
Yeah.
I've put some people there
right?
when I was a cop.
Right.
Now, it was extremely hard to get arrested on a marijuana offense by Officer Green. You really had to be
Blatant.
a jerk,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it happened.
So it's already been decriminalized in Philadelphia, and
Yeah.
so I'm just wondering what the numbers would be for the decriminalization and the expungements, and what kind of a burden that would relieve, which would also be ultimately a tax savings because you wouldn't be burdening the law enforcement system and the penal system, right?
Well, not only that, there goes your bestie.
Where's she going?
She's taking a walk, I guess. Hopefully she's listening to Porchcast Pottstown.
Oh, I
on
know
her
where she's
phone.
going. She's going to feed somebody's cats.
Okay. So anyway, what was I going to say before I got distracted?
About the alleviation of
Well,
certain
here's another
burdens
thing
on
that
the
it's
penal
going to
and
do.
justice
There's a
system.
lot of people that can't get jobs or are held back from better employment because of a marijuana offense. So, for instance, if you have a misdemeanor or a higher graded offense, you can't get into nursing school.
Right.
So if you were arrested for marijuana and have a misdemeanor possession charge,
Mm-hmm.
now you can possibly get back into nursing school and
Right.
get a better job.
Yep.
So there could be an argument to be made that it's going to reduce some poverty and
Yeah,
some
there's
unemployment.
going to remove those
The
obstacles.
more people you have working, the more people you have paying taxes.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a butterfly effect on a lot of this stuff.
Right. And I would also say this: the amount of there's a lot of bad weed out there. Like you hear articles
About it being laced
about
with
it being
fentanyl
laced.
and
There was
stuff.
an incident in, I want to say, New Haven a couple of years ago. I read about when I was up in Connecticut. There was a significant number of overdoses from people that were had laced. It was weed that was laced with fentanyl.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't know anything about fentanyl, it is
Super.
extremely dangerous.
It's poisonous.
It's
basically
it
what
is
You
horribly
can touch
dangerous.
it and it'll absorb through your skin and kill you.
So police officers
There's been police
need
officers that have been killed
yes,
by it.
they need to wear gloves. They need to have masks because if you aspirate any of it, it is deadly. It is a deadly, deadly narcotic in a very, very
It's
small
an
amount.
opioid derivative.
Say
It's
it
an
again?
opioid derivative.
Oh yeah, but it's just super, super, super potent. So there are people out there that are dealers that are selling weed laced with fentanyl. I don't know why somebody would do that. I don't know.
Well, because it makes it stronger.
It makes it
So
stronger,
if
but it's-
somebody's looking for
I-
the other
but
part of it
it's so
too is there-
it is really dangerous.
no,
and
it is, and there's also some weed that gets accidentally contaminated
Right.
with fentanyl.
Right.
Some of it's contaminated
Yeah.
not on purpose, just because it's stored in close
So if
proximity.
you're gonna have people out there smoking weed anyway, you might as well regulate it, make it safe, and make some money. Make some
At
money
the end
off
of the
it.
day,
Let's just get some
talk
money
about
up in this, John.
capitalism. Right. At
Right.
the end of the day, let's talk about some capitalism.
talk
You want to be
about some money.
capitalist, free market?
Yep.
Legalize weed, man. Let's capitalize on
Yeah.
it.
Now, hopefully, Pennsylvania can get it together because I think Pennsylvania completely blew it when it came to COVID and the we have a state liquor for anybody that's watching out of state. We have a state-run liquor control board, and the liquor stores are state stores, as they're called, and they completely blew it. I think they blew it. They closed down the stores. They weren't allowing, like, they weren't doing deliveries. That you had to call on the phone. It was
weird.
right.
It was weird.
Right, so you had people crossing state lines to be able
But
to
it
go to
didn't
the liquor
even
store.
stay closed for that long. It wasn't even that long that they were closed.
No, but they were closed.
No, I
They
understand.
could have just controlled the number
Well, look
of
at
people.
here. I'm sitting here drinking a beer. you
Right,
know.
right.
Think about
So-
all the damage that alcohol has done to society. When I was a cop, going back to what you're saying about fentanyl and opioids and stuff, the last summer that I was a cop on the street in Pottstown, my squad responded to an overdose or an overdose related issue every single shift we worked.
Right.
Every single one. You know what I've never responded to in 15 years of law enforcement?
A weed
overdose.
No. Probably
Not one.
responded to some DUIs.
Absolutely.
Right.
But you know what? A lot of those DUIs were also in combination with, yes, they had marijuana in their system. They also had cocaine, and they also had alcohol in their systems.
Right.
So before we say, oh, well, everybody's going to be driving around high, guess what? They probably already are.
Right.
And they're drinking beers with it. And there's already rules on the books to deal with people who get arrested for driving drunk and high.
Or impaired. Yeah. Right.
But I never once, not once, responded to a weed overdose.
And not unless it was something that was laced. It's the only
never. I'm telling you.
Situation.
Well, maybe I didn't know about that, but I've never. The people that were ODing that I was dealing with were either heroin or taking too many pills or whatever else.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad.
Opioids.
Really sad.
And the pills are legal. The pills are legal.
Well, they may not have obtained them legally.
They come into the market in legal means.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So let's open an ongoing conversation on that. I did see that some people checked out. Maybe they don't want to talk about weed. Maybe they were hoping that we were going to talk about chickens more. I don't know. I'd rather listen. The byproducts of marijuana cultivation can be fed to chickens,
and maybe the chickens can be used to compost.
Lay a weed egg. Anyway, all right. So it's Women's History Month. In addition to all this stuff, Women's History Month. The 8th was International Women's Day. Amy got a nice card from Joe Rusevich. And we also talk about Edgewood Cemetery quite a bit. And
yes,
I know one of our news items is going to be encouraging people to participate in Edgewood Cemetery again.
Yep. And go take a walk up there, folks, on a nice day like today.
So here's the history lesson for today. There's several notable and interesting people buried at Edgewood Cemetery.
Yes,
more
there
than
are.
one.
Yeah.
But probably one of the most famous ones on a national level is a woman by the name of Sarah Anna Turner Wittenmeyer.
Sarah Anna Turner Wittenmeyer.
Yep.
Got it.
She was known to everybody as Annie. So for the purpose of this story, I'm either going to call her Annie or I'm going to call her Wittenmeyer.
Right.
She was born on August 26, 1827 in Ohio. And where she really rose to fame and acclaim was during the Civil War. She created and implemented a series of kitchens which promoted healthy and nutritious meals to recovering soldiers who had been wounded in battle or combat.
Was that here in Pottstown?
It was not. She was actually, at the time, she was living in Keokuk, Iowa. And Keokuk, Iowa was apparently the jumping off spot for where the Iowa troops went to participate in the Civil War. And her brother was somehow involved in the military hospitals.
Okay.
And through her traveling in the community and in Iowa, she saw these conditions that were experienced by the returning combat, the wounded veterans. And so what she did was she started to participate in promoting this healthy diet in order to improve the conditions within the hospitals.
Yeah.
And then also, obviously, as we know now, the healthy diet can contribute to
a lot of healing and recovery and all that.
Et cetera.
So how did she end up in Pottstown? Do you know?
I'm getting to that.
Okay, sorry.
But it's a good question. So Wittenmeyer became the first woman mentioned by name in an Iowa legislative document when she was appointed as the sanitary agent for the Iowa State Sanitary Commission. In 1863, she began advocating for war orphans. She helped create several new Iowa orphanages, including the Iowa Soldiers Orphans Home, which was later renamed the Annie Wittenmeyer Home. In addition to that, and her relief work in 1864, she began to work with the United States Christian Commission in developing the special diets for the Civil War soldiers. The program was designed to improve the health of soldiers who were reportedly dying from inadequate diet in hospitals.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so horrible.
Can you imagine?
No. So they're like, they've got injuries or dysentery or gonorrhea or, well, that happened. There was a whole program. So
hopefully they weren't getting gonorrhea in combat.
No, there was a whole program about it at the Civil War Museum. My friend Mary Beth is the director out there. I'm going to ask her about it because it was like there was a whole thing about sexual diseases in the Civil War.
All right.
But yeah, so in addition to whatever they're there for, they're being malnourished in the hospital.
Correct.
It's criminal.
So she was one of the first people to recognize this and did something about it.
Right.
She wrote a book called Under the Guns, which chronicles her relief work and her experiences in the Civil War. Under the Guns. Following the war, she helped found the Women's Home Missionary Society and served as the first corresponding secretary in 1871. She edited the periodicals The Christian Woman and The Christian Child, and she wrote several more hymns, and those hymns are in a book called Women's Work for Jesus. It was during this time that her work brought her to the Pottstown area. During Wittenmeyer's tenure as first president of the Women's Christian Temperance Union, the group grew to over 1,000 local chapters. And apparently she came to Pennsylvania and ultimately landed in Saratoga as part of her work through the temperance movement.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
She owned a house. I wish I would have gotten the address today, but the house that she lived in or owned still stands. It's on East High Street in Saratoga. It's over by Cotillo's.
Okay.
Wittenmeyer, after working in the temperance movement, she returned to advocacy for veterans and nurses. In 1889, she was elected the president of the Women's Relief Corps and focused on providing retirement for living nurses and war widows. She lobbied for pensions for retired military nurses, leading to legislation passed in 1892. She published her autobiography, Under the Guns, in 1895.
Yeah, if you ever think that one person can't make a difference,
they can.
They can.
And she was teamed up with some pretty other famous people, but she was a leader in her field.
Right.
And she's buried here in Pottstown.
And where, what year did she pass?
She passed away. Oh, hold on. It was sometime around, 1900. February 2nd, 1900. Apparently she was giving a talk and had an asthma attack after the talk and died. And she's buried at Edgewood Cemetery.
Edgewood Cemetery. So
and
there's some pretty, I mean, that's a pretty old grave. That's a 120-year-old grave right there. But there's some graves that are older, way older than that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. There's a historical marker dedicated to her right inside the front entrance.
Okay.
That marker
in that,
that's there.
Mulchy area?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the marker for Annie Wittenmeyer.
That is very interesting.
I thought the ladies might appreciate that
Well, everybody should appreciate that.
Right.
Most especially the men that benefited from her work in the hospitals.
Sure. The men and
well, they don't
everybody.
appreciate it now because they're dead, but I'm sure at the time they
At the
did.
time. Well,
Yeah.
think about it this way. Had she not saved some of those men that were in the hospital, some of us might not be listening to this message right now.
Right.
Because you might not
Well,
have
my
ever been
family
born.
certainly wasn't here then. We all came over in the 20th century, but
Okay.
yeah.
Both sides of my family were here.
Yeah, no, we were more in the 1920s time frame when all the Italians.
So that's my
immigrants came over.
history lesson
That was very
for
interesting. Yeah.
Women's
I
History
would
Month.
if I'm always hesitant to throw ideas out because then when you throw ideas out, you find yourself being in charge of them. But if there was a walking tour or like a history tour through Edgewood, I would very, very much be interested in that. Like have Mike Snyder go through and,
Pick out some-
maybe over the series of like 4 different Sundays or, 4 weeks over the course of the summer, like go out for an hour and a half or 2 hours to like talk about the graves because Mike really likes to talk about the people when he does his history articles.
Yes.
And he likes to talk about the people that live in the houses or that lived in the area and what their contributions were.
Some
that
of what I read today came from Mike Snyder's research.
Yeah. That guy can research.
The rest of it came from my research.
Right. So we tip our hats to all the folks working on the Edgewood Cemetery maintenance.
Yes.
And it is a completely volunteer effort out there, and it is a very, very important part of Pottstown's history and really a treasure. It's a beautiful park over there on the east end of town, and you should check it out if you've never been over there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and especially check it out
On
right
what
in.
day?
April 11th. I hope it's a day just like today.
April 11th
Yeah.
is going to be the cleanup day.
Yeah. Oh, wait. No.
It's
hold
also
on.
artists.
Sorry, I think I have. It's
Artists?
the 10th. I'm sorry. It's the 10th.
I was going to say
April 10th. I have something else on the 11th. April 10th.
April 10th. It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday. And they started putting up some posts of the different kinds of artisans that are going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I did see something. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it.
It's $25. if
$25
you'd like
to
be an
set up your
artisan.
table. Where are you here?
Bronwyn D. Maceo
I
is
think it was Kathy Skitko that posted
Kathy
it with
Skitko.
Hobart's Run. Yes, Historic Edgewood Cemetery is excited to announce my Stampin' Pad will be at Edgewood Eddie's Art Fair. My Stampin' Pad is Kelly Wolfel. That's her
okay.
business, right?
Yeah.
The cards that she makes.
Yep.
So great.
Top fan.
Kelly.
Porchtonian.
Yep. And where's the other one I saw? Provincial Grace Artisan Wax Company, which looks like body products,
Okay.
salves and balms and things. And
Balm.
Bell Tower House, who makes these beautiful art pieces on slate tile, like roof slate tile.
Oh, yeah.
And
They- yes.
do you
Yeah,
know who
yeah,
that
yeah.
is, Bell Tower House? That is our good friend Susie Kennedy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she makes
I
these
knew
really
that she was experimenting with
yeah.
that.
So she's got these beautiful. It's like
Congratulations.
beaded artwork on a piece of slate. Really cool stuff.
Another top fan and
Yeah.
our literary liaison.
Yeah. So her stuff is really neat. So
Shout
great.
out.
That's great. I'm glad that they're getting some vendors over there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. So go bring a rake. Bring your money. Rake
Get her
some
done.
stuff. Yeah.
I did some chainsawing last year with William Paul Barogli, Esquire.
Yes, you did.
So maybe Bill and I will do a little bit more chainsawing this year.
Yeah. So that's happening on the 10th. And then on the 11th, you can have a whole Pottstown weekend. On the 11th, there is the Selma, showing of the movie Selma. My dad said they have seen it 3 times, and they think it's a fantastic movie. They loved it. So big thumbs up for my parents. So that is a free community conversation on systemic racism and civic duties. That is at Sunnybrook Drive-In, Sunday, April 11th. And you can go to striveinitiative.org, striveinitiative.org. To get your tickets. They are free. Tickets
That's
are
our
free, but you do have to register your cell phone number so that there's going to be like a like some text-related conversation happening.
Yeah, there's going to be some questions
Yeah.
and possibly some surveys to help
Yeah.
aid in the conversation
Yes,
after
some
the
conversation
movie.
starters.
That's our friend David Charles.
Yes.
You
Yep.
could also find him on Facebook. He's David Charles on Facebook.
Yeah.
Strive Initiative.
Yeah.
You can also go back, if you go back to YouTube, Porchcast Pottstown, you can see the episode that we
he
did
was a
with
good
David.
guest, real good guest, doing lots of really great stuff
Really
for
nice
the kids
stuff.
here in Pottstown. So, looking forward to that. Did you check out Grumpy's video?
I did not.
Oh, it's so fun.
I got to.
Yeah,
So
it's
what
great.
I'll do is I'll go on Porchcast Pottstown on YouTube, and then I'll go over to Grumpy's Facebook, and I'll
Yes.
like it that way,
Yeah.
and then we'll be linked. And then we need to reach out to Sheila and Grumpy and plan our crossover show, because I
Yeah.
would love to do a crossover
Yeah,
show with
it was
them.
super. It's a really fun. It's Gene being Gene,
Yeah.
and I'm going to subscribe to their page right
Yeah,
now.
I'm going to do that too.
Uh,
So don't forget to subscribe
yeah.
to Grumpy's new YouTube channel, because he's going to
Yep.
be doing a cooking show.
Yeah, so just in the video, the first video is
Tammy Vontner saying she loved it.
just a couple of. It's maybe 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not like 7 minutes.
It's
and 41
not like
seconds.
an hour of
Yeah.
us talking.
Yeah. What is this? I missed this Grumpy's Barstool video.
Oh, geez.
I don't know what that is. I'll have to check that out. The only Grumpy's Barstool story I know is when he fell off the bar stool and broke his neck. But it was really fun, and he gives his recipe for barbecue meatloaf, which is delicious. He made
Grumpy's
that for
food
me
is
when I was
unbelievable.
recovering
If you
from
haven't
surgery.
been down there, go get yourself a Sammy.
It's my favorite. The meatloaf is my favorite.
What I'm thinking is I can use Restream to do the crossover show, because all Grumpy would have to do is link up to Restream, put his YouTube
Well, his
channel.
stuff is filmed. It's recorded.
Yeah.
It's not live.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
I'm saying we do a crossover
okay.
show
Yeah.
and do it live if he wants to.
Yeah.
I think it would be a good idea.
It would be fun. It would be.
We might be able to.
of
We
fun.
might be able to bring him a couple more watchers.
Yeah.
I want my man Grumpy to do good. But
Yes.
what I am saying is, if it becomes a thing, I can add Grumpy's YouTube channel to the Restream and broadcast
Mm-hmm.
live.
Why not?
Just throwing it
Right.
out there, in case that appeals to anybody else
Yes.
too. Wanted to cross over with us.
Uh,
What other news do you have, man?
So I said I ran into Kevin,
Coffee Smith.
coffeesmith.coffee. So Kevin knows that I struggle with whole bean coffee and getting when you grind it yourself. Like, so when you get the whole bean coffee and then
Yeah.
you have to grind it down, like I struggle with. I just have a El Cheapo coffee grinder, so I
Okay.
struggle with getting the
You don't get the right
consistency
grind?
right. Yeah, the consistency. And then when I put it doesn't brew correctly because I haven't ground it properly, and so I'm just sticking with my Folgers. So I ran into Kevin when he was leaving for his bike ride, and he said, "Oh, I have something I think you'd be interested in." And so now he's starting to sell these pre-packaged packets. So they're ground. It's not whole bean. It's ground, and this is enough for 1 pot of coffee. So
Gotcha.
plop it in there.
Yeah.
There you go. So he's got these available.
So
Yeah.
he told me about that, and then somebody else that he's friends with also was bringing me up to speed on the fact that he's opening up some more product
He's
lines.
got a lot of stuff going on. He's really busy, and I'm really thrilled for him. Like he started this business in the middle of the pandemic.
Guess who
and-
helped him kick it off?
Yep.
Porchcast Pottstown.
So he started this business, 7 or 8 months ago, and he's doing really well. He's got a lot of different product lines. He does commercial stuff. He's doing what's called white label, where he makes the coffee and then puts your label on it. It's like
Yeah.
private branding or whatever it's called.
He's been
private label.
doing that since jump. Yeah.
And he works with a lot of local restaurants here, and just really, I'm super happy for him. Busy.
Good for him.
People love their
man.
coffee. What can you say?
And like we said earlier in the show, if it wasn't for those bike lanes, Coffee Smith might not be here in Pottstown
Yeah.
bringing you coffee.
Yep.
So before you complain about the bike lanes, think about whether or not you like the Coffee Smith coffee
Coffee.
in your coffee cup.
With your bacon.
with your bacon from Paul Bacon, Society
Yeah.
of Bacon.
Yeah, so good luck, Kevin, with everything that you're doing. Does not seem
Absolutely.
like you need my wishes of good luck because it seems like you're doing really well, and we're super happy for you. So check out coffeesmith.coffee. Sent me the link here. 5 count. So it's coffeesmith.coffee. Nice looking website, Kev. Very nice. And it is 5 count for $15, which is about what you get like if you buy the whole beans. That's about the same price. And delicious coffee, even for a lowbrow
Coffee cretin?
even for a coffee cretin Folgers drinking lady like myself.
Nice. Support
Yeah,
local.
so great. Check it out.
What else we got
That's
for news?
it. That's what I got. Oh, Sunday, don't forget about the Seeking Balance, Fairness in Education. This Sunday is Laura Johnson, our friend Laura, we have had on twice. She might be one of the only guests that we've had on twice. Yeah. So she will be...
Vance Jaffe was on twice.
Who's Joe?
Vance.
Oh, Vance?
Vance Jaffe was on twice
we had
because
to-
we
we-
screwed up the one show
Yes,
and
we
then
did.
had to bring him back for a good show.
Yes.
Same thing with Steel River Playhouse.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about Steel River.
They
of
were
course.
on twice.
Yep.
There might be somebody else.
Yep.
Jay Morris made a
Oh, yeah. Jay
a
stopped by
delivery
at,
and then had
at
a
Brooks' house and then came by here.
yeah.
All right.
We've had
You got a better memory than I do. So go to First Presbyterian Church. First Baptist Church of Pottstown.
Yes.
Go to their website Sunday at 4:00 via Zoom to see and hear our friend Laura Johnson talking about fair funding. We're not going to shut up about it.
no.
We're not going to shut up about it.
No.
I saw Trinita today. I haven't seen Trinita in person in over a year. So we were both at a funeral today, a graveside service, and it was really great to see her. But we were just talking about
I'm
fair
trying
funding.
to think the last time I saw her in person was last year at the Edgewood Cemetary cleanup. So it's going on a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had lunch together at the Blue Elephant, she and I and Amy, and it was probably February. And then I haven't seen her in person in that long, so it was great to see her.
Whammo.
Great to see her. And we were masked up, and I gave her a hug. I did. I gave her a hug because I missed her.
I think that we
And we were
gotta
outside.
start.
We were outside. I was like, perfectly safe.
You've made it this far because of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, it's not like you were French kissing her at the bar.
No, we had one little hug.
Right.
And like I said, we were masked up, but it was great to see her. And Trinita, if you're watching, thank you for everything that you do for
She's
our
the
town.
political liaison for the
Yes.
show.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're not going to stop talking about fair funding.
Nope.
We brought
Can't
up the
stop, won't stop.
marijuana. We brought up the legalization of marijuana. We both agree that could be a possibly good way to fund schools.
Yes.
Laura Johnson, when we talked to her about her, which was one of the topics that she talked about, go to her Facebook page, her personal Facebook page. She talks about a lot of stuff. If you're looking for somebody who's operating a page where you can actually go and have a conversation with somebody without it getting too out of hand, although sometimes it does, her personal page, she talks about a lot of different topics, in addition to fair funding, but a lot of different topics. She talks about all the stuff you're not supposed to talk about. And then her advocates for fair funding, or the advocates for Pottstown School District, those are other pages that she has where you can go and learn more about what's going on with fair funding. So we're going to keep bringing you that message.
Yep.
Now, the last item, one of the last items that I had, and I wanted to encourage people to do a couple of things, and this is going to dovetail into the real estate stuff that I've been talking about. So the other day, I did some breakdown about some things that are available for first-time home buyers. So you can go back to our
programs.
Tuesday show and get yourself caught up on that. Yesterday at the Cast at Glocker, which is the other podcast that I do, which is more Boyertown centric. But what we talked about yesterday at the top of the show at the Cast at Glocker was all about the spring market. So we gave a lot of advice and ideas for both sellers and buyers of residential real estate. Go back and take a look at that episode. There was 4 of us there, 2 realtors, 2 brokers. A lot of experience. Just between the two brokers, there was 50 something.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the difference between a realtor and a broker?
A
What does that
a
mean?
broker is a manager, somebody that manages a real estate office.
Okay.
The person in charge.
Okay.
So we have two brokers at Glocker.
Got it.
Matt Kennedy and Martin Slater.
Okay.
Two realtors, Jeff and myself.
Mm-hmm.
We're agents, salespeople.
Okay. Thank you.
So Martin Slater's been doing it for 30 years. Matt said 22. Jeff 12. Myself 6. You can do the math on that. That was a bunch of experience in that room. Hear what we have to say. But one of the things that I talk about on that show, and I just want to bring it up here again so that people can get an idea of some of the stuff that's going on or that's available to them. This actually comes from Reading, but there's a redeveloping authority. The redevelopment authority of Berks County has a program in West Reading. West Reading is an Elm Street home ownership program. Elm Street is a designation that comes out from the state. Long story short, if you live in West Reading, in this Elm Street area, there's money available to you to help purchase a home or fix up a home. So when you're thinking about trying to enter the market and funds might be short, make sure you talk to a realtor from the area who knows about the stuff that's going on in the neighborhoods.
Before you hire a realtor, ask that person questions. How knowledgeable are you on the programs that are available to help me get some additional funding?
That's
I'm a
right.
first-time home buyer. Maybe you're not first time, but you want to look in a certain area. What kind of grants are available? What can you do to assist me to get the funds that I need? What programs are available? And if that person doesn't
know.
have an answer,
Or just
is
says,
that-
well, talk to my in-house lender.
right.
The in-house
What the
lender
lender
might
doesn't necessarily know.
they might not know either.
Right.
So all I'm saying is pick someone local. If you want to be introduced to some local people, watch the Cast at Glocker's episode yesterday. We promoted that yesterday at 6:00 at Glocker Realty Insurance Facebook page. Now, people are going to say to me, why do you keep bringing this up? The other reason I keep bringing this up is there's a contest.
Ah.
If you like and share that episode,
Got it. So, last night's episode, the
Like
March
it.
10th episode.
the March 10th episode,
Yep.
the Cast at Glocker,
Okay.
on Facebook and YouTube, Glocker Realty and Insurance. If you like that episode and share that episode to your friends list or to your group, you get entered to win $25.
That's a lot of Wawa burgers.
$25 gift certificate to Gramia's restaurant in Boyertown.
Okay.
Just by liking and sharing that episode.
Great.
And if you watch the episode, at least the first half of it, you will get a load of knowledge
learn some
about
stuff.
buying and selling real estate.
Right. How do you get, I know we're going to wrap it up here, but
Yep.
how do you get maybe a house that's an eyesore in the neighborhood to just sell it? Because it's at the top of the market.
You can
And they're
reach
gonna
out
get
to that
more
if
money.
you know the owner. If you know the owner, and this is serious. I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about. If you know the owner of that eyesore property, it might be a distressed property that somebody inherited and doesn't want. They might have code violations that they can't deal with. They might be back on their taxes.
Right.
They might be going into default on their mortgage, going into foreclosure. Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate can help all of the above.
Right.
Even to the point that there are some people who think that they're going to have to foreclose on their house. There's a way to save yourself from being foreclosed on to stay in the home.
Right.
I know how to put you in touch with people who can do that.
Right.
I don't make a commission on that.
Right.
I just want to do the right thing to help
Yeah.
people who could stay in their house.
Right. Well, and
if they
also
want
if it's
to.
if as a resident, if you can help kind of clean up the neighborhood by taking care of a property, that would
Yeah.
benefit everybody.
If those people do want to sell, please call me.
Yeah.
I have a proven
Now is the
track
time,
record.
man. If you want to
Now's
get
the
out,
time.
if you're like maybe underwater or you just want to try to cut your losses, now it's
Now's
not going to get much higher than this market.
It's one of the strongest markets anybody's ever seen.
Yeah.
But honest to God, if you do have a property like that in your life, or you know about one, have the owner of that property reach out to me. I can get them on track. If they are interested in selling, I work with investors that pay very fair prices for homes, and we have literally doubled the amount of money that we're giving sellers than the We Buy Any Homes people.
Right. Yeah, and people are overbidding now.
Yes.
Is that the right word?
If I can
Overbidding?
help you do a private deal, that I have a proven track record of getting more money in private deals. Or if you want to list it and put it on the market, maybe you can even do better than a private deal. Depends on what your strategy is and what strategy will work best for you.
Right.
But if you have a distressed property, please call me. I can help you.
Yeah. I don't know this homeowner well enough to be like, hey, buddy, why don't you sell this?
We'll talk.
Yeah.
I also have a way to reach out to those people that's very
in a very
unobtrusive.
Got it.
Yes.
Great.
Okay.
Let us talk.
Call me.
Yes. All right, break it
All right,
down.
let's break it down.
605.
I'm Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate. I am your local real estate expert. I can help you with your matters of real estate. Amy Wolf is the host of Porchcast Pottstown. She's also the office manager at Wolf Baldwin and Associates, bringing you fine legal service in the borough of Pottstown since 1973.
We certainly are. Yes.
That Pennsburg office has to be up and running by now.
Oh yeah, it is busy.
Busy?
It is really busy. Yeah.
Now
No
in
complaints.
Pennsburg, Wolf Baldwin and Associates.
And also in Reading and Westchester.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. Thanks for watching. Keep the comments coming. Keep the extra information coming. It does help us bring you a better show.
Have a great weekend.
We are Porchcast. Let's talk soon.